want to give you a list of comics. I want you to tell me who's going to die first and who's going to live the longest.
Oh, okay.
And I want you to predict how everyone's going to die also.
Yeah, and I could tell, by the way, also by how dry Bert's lips are, that he's close.
I mean, he does look bad.
I mean, it's never good when your lips are the same shade as your beard. Bert's going to be the only guy to put his stand-up dates on his casket. What I'm really interested in seeing is when and if Bert dies, how quickly Leanne moves on. I'd like to see how quickly she's just like, I couldn't be we are out of here.
The Two Bears One Cave Summer Edition with Chrissy D and Stavy is in full swing with some of the highest views per episode that Two Bears has seen all year. It's no secret that comedy podcasts in general have been falling off over the last 18 months, which is why Andrew Schulz made the pivot to political commentary, Joe Rogan came back to YouTube to boost his numbers after losing 70% of his audience over on Spotify, and Brendan Schaub moved to Austin, Texas to be closer to Papa Rogan and revive the dying thick boy empire. Clearly, comedy podcasts have had their day, which is why Tom and Bert have taken the summer off to try and buy their way into Hollywood, leaving us in the hands of Chris Distefano and Stavros Halkias. But in a twist of fate that everybody saw coming except for Tom and Bert, Two Bears One Cave is seeing a revival in their absence. As you can imagine, though, with all the hype over the last few weeks, Chrissy and Stavy were ordered to tone things down and reassure the viewers that this is just a temporary gig, and Tom and Bert will be back in a couple of weeks to return to business as usual. The funniest part about this whole thing for me is seeing Bert's friends realize how much hatred there is for their boy Bert. I mean, everyone knows that Bert cops a lot of hate. I'm sure they've seen all the videos and the negativity in every single comment section under a post that features or even just mentions Bert, but for them to actually sit in the hot seat and take control of the ship, it really has been an eye-opening experience for them to see just how deep the hate for Bert goes.
This is the fourth episode.
That's
We're
right.
now settling in. Mm-hmm. We have taken over the show for the first whole month of summer. I feel like this is becoming our thing, and I feel like we're stepping into the stride here.
What we like to do is just kind of cool off. This show's had a little momentum.
Yeah.
We don't want, let's be clear, we don't want this to be successful.
No.
This is a bullshit part-time summer job. Remember when you were 14 and you would work at a fucking lemonade stand, an ice cream stand or something for a little spending money? That's what we're doing here.
Yeah.
So we've decided bad episode today.
Yeah.
We're going to play a video from Bert, which you guys seem to hate.
Yes.
It seems like Bert all your moms or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
it's his podcast, but you all hate him.
Yeah.
I don't know. So we're going to play a video from him.
Yeah.
We're trying to stop any momentum that so let's be clear. So don't start getting feelings for us. We're not sticking around.
We're not sticking around. Here's how committed we are to making sure this episode is awful. We want you to stick around to the end because the last 5 minutes, I'm going to massage Stavy.
Yeah, that's our big teaser. I'm going to pop my top. I'm going to take my shirt off. I did sign a contract where the fat guy does have to show his nipples at least once on this podcast. They basically they were looking for a guy with an annoying laugh who was willing to take his shirt off. That's how I got the job.
You just know Bert's sitting back and watching this thinking, how the fuck have I never thought of getting a massage on camera? He's done everything from eating ASMR to having a vitamin IV to even shitting his pants on a podcast, but he's never received a massage. But that comment from Stavy about how it's weird that everyone hates seeing Bert on his own podcast and the feedback they've been getting is less Bert and more of them, this is that moment where their friends realize that guys like Schultz, Schaub and Bert are full-blown lolcows with 90% of their viewers hate watching while sitting on the toilet. It's like we're all driving past a car wreck, desperate to drive away and get on with our lives, but slowing down, just hoping for a glimpse of a dead corpse or a severely injured individual, and then turning away in shock as soon as we see it. Yep, that's where we're at with these guys. And speaking of car wrecks, make sure you hit the link in the description to my Patreon because I'm about to drop a video covering the latest episode of Kill Tony featuring Shane Gillis and Matt McCusker, but I'm also going to discuss the London Arena show that mysteriously disappeared and never got uploaded to YouTube or the Kill Tony website. A few people who were actually there emailed me about their experience, so don't miss out on that full breakdown. But let's get back to this episode of Two Bears One Cave because Bert's about to phone it in and get absolutely roasted by Chrissy and Stavy.
We want to see what Bert is saying too. We want to check in with our.
We know that's what the fans want.
We know that's what the fans want. Yeah. Let's check in with our Bert Kreischer.
What's up, gentlemen?
Okay.
So I got into a texting argument with Ari Shaffir the other day on who was going to live the longest.
Oh,
and we said we're basically a coin flip that Tom would die before us and that Joe Rogan was going to have to attend all of our funerals.
Yeah.
And we almost felt bad for Joe. I want to give you a list of comics. I want you to tell me who's going to die first and who's going to live the longest.
Oh, okay.
And I want you to predict how everyone's going to die also.
Yeah, and I could tell, by the way, also by how dry Bert's lips are, that he's close.
I mean, he does look bad.
I mean, it's never good when your lips are the same shade as your beard.
Yeah, I mean, were you filming is this part of the sitcom where it starts like Law and Order? Are you the dead body that the episode starts on?
Yeah. This is almost like a video that like is starting at his funeral.
Well, that escalated quickly. Bert sending in that video, not realizing that Chrissy would waste absolutely zero time in comparing Bert to an already dead guy, is so typically Bert. He rattled off about 20 names for them to go through, hoping it would take the heat off him for a bit and give the guys an opportunity to roast some of their other friends, but Chrissy and Stubby were like, yeah, nah, that's way too many names to go through. But since you mentioned it, Bert, you actually look like a corpse in that video. However, shitting on Rogan has also started to trend lately as the top 250 finally realize that their own leader is an endless source of comedy content. Don't worry, the irony of that statement isn't lost on me. The funniest thing about Rogan is the shit other people say about him. And so the guys took a short break from roasting Bert to point out the walking contradiction that Joe Rogan is. And I don't mean because he's short and unfunny. That has nothing to do with this at all. Joe is one of the tallest, most funniest comedians in history. There, I said it. Where's my check?
Who's going to live the longest? I would have to think is Joe Rogan, just because he has the most knowledge of longevity and the most longevity physicians around him.
Maybe.
To help him live the longest.
But there's also the coin flip that like Joe gets into something cutting edge too fast. He puts like elk DNA into his heart, and it turns out like they were close. That was almost going to make you immortal, but the beta version makes your heart explode.
Yeah.
So I would say there's just like a small version that like, he's geared up. We know that. We know Joe's on juice.
That's
right?
not good for your heart.
There's that dark horse that one of his longevity hacks. Like, what if cold plunging actually is the worst thing in the world?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what if one of the like 15 crazy things he does actually kills you? You never know. Or what if like he gets into like, Elon convinced him to get into like a spaceship that's not ready and it explodes. You know what I mean?
Or like what if he's just like one day doing like some type of wild military press and an on it kettlebell just crushes his head.
Yeah. It's faulty. He's lifting a world record amount. The handle snaps right on his
That's
dome.
a good point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so
that'll never happen to me.
Yeah.
I will never go because of, kettlebell.
Yeah.
I will never be crushed by a kettlebell.
That's true. Okay, so that's interesting for that.
This is the type of shit that Rogan would sit up at night watching while he's high as a kite and laugh along with it, not realizing that they're laughing at him, not with him. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if some long-term study came out in 20 years that concluded ice baths cause cancer. Or could you imagine if it turns out that excessive nicotine pouch use makes your teeth fall out, and so they won't be able to podcast anymore because they can't speak properly? And speaking of people who should stop podcasting because they can't speak properly, you know that whatever Rogan dies from, Brendan Schaub will also die from within 6 months. These follow-the-science gurus take so much unregulated shit with no real scientific evidence to confirm their benefits or side effects that if they did all of a sudden drop dead, it'd be real difficult to determine the actual cause of death. Was it the steroid abuse? Maybe it was the cigars. Could have been the alpha brain, or maybe it was the scorpion milk. Brendan's the kind of guy who would die in the most ironic way possible, like tripping over and hitting his head while trying to break into the comedy mothership, or getting caught up in an unprecedented record-breaking fire in Austin, Texas. Actually, here it is. He tries to humiliate Bryan Callen on a podcast by ragdolling him, but Bryan's been training and manages to lock Schaub up and choke him out. But when Bupper taps, Bryan thinks he's joking and doesn't let go. All jokes aside, I wish Brendan nothing but good health and longevity. Bro is paying off my mortgage. Thank him, B. Anyway, let's get back to Bert.
I gotta say, out of that whole list, I mean, it's other than Bert, who is actually now purple.
Yeah, I mean, we will actually. the 7th episode will be us and Tom.
Yes.
From now on, it'll be one of us will be going back and forth with Tom because Bert's not. They will have to finish the sitcom he's shooting with AI.
Yeah.
Bert's face over some other shirtless guy doing his lines.
Bert's going to be the only guy to put his stand-up dates on his casket. Just Red Rocks, September 12th.
His funeral. Essentially, they'll hold his funeral at Red Rocks.
Yeah.
You gotta say, Bert would have an incredible funeral.
Oh my God!
In fact, what's gonna happen is Bert fakes his death. He's gonna Tom Sawyer himself so that he can watch us cry and give speeches, and then he's gonna be like, "I'm actually alive," and we'll be like, "Well, you're not getting a good funeral now." You know what I mean? Now you've pissed us off.
Yeah.
I could see that happening. I could see that happening. Yeah.
That is absolutely the correct take on Bert's funeral. Bert 100% would fake his own death just to watch his funeral from behind the curtains. And once everyone finds out it was fake, Bert would have absolutely zero idea why everyone is so mad at him. He'd totally be like, "But I'm alive, I'm not dead. Aren't you happy I'm still here? It was fake. I made the whole thing up to see your reaction. Look, I even brought champagne. Wait, why is everyone leaving? Have I told you about the time I got involved with the Russian mafia? Bert's the only person I've ever seen who cried when thinking about how much everyone would miss him at his own funeral. That's seriously some next level narcissism. They definitely need to find a new condition for whatever Bert has, because narcissistic personality disorder really doesn't capture the true severity of his disease."
What I'm really interested in seeing is when and if Bert dies, how quickly Leanne moves on. I'd like to see how quickly she's just like, I couldn't be we are out of here.
Like a guy who reads, he hasn't had a drink in his life. You know
Yeah.
Has a cardigan, just layers.
Yeah.
Not only do you not see his stomach, but he's just
Yeah.
It's an open secret at this point that Leanne stuck with Bert all these years because of the money. You know it's true when his daughters got as far away from him as possible as soon as they turned 18. It's one thing to have all your buddies on your payroll, but to have your wife and sisters on your payroll too really has to be some sort of red flag for him. Bert really blurs the line between lol cow and cash cow. Clearly he'll never realize this though. He probably just thinks everyone enjoys spending time with him and catering to his every need. Such healthy relationships on all sides, huh? I mean, Chrissy and Stubby didn't need much encouragement to go full scorched earth on him, but that's why we love him. Anyway, remember to hit the link in the description to my Patreon for the latest on Kill Tony, and make sure you subscribe to both my channels while you're here as well. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.